There are a couple of things that we can deduce from yesterday that I think are very interesting. And I don't know that I was fully aware of it last night, mostly because I was really tired and I was cravey. But we managed to have a low carb day, or what is considered for me a low carb day according to my Lumen. Even though we did a full wine tasting tour, 3 different vineyards. We had a 5-course lunch with wine pairing and then had a burger for dinner. Yet we still managed to have what it's considered to be a low carb day. And so I think that's interesting because that's something that I don't know that I was nervous about that. And I didn't think that, I honestly thought I was going to go over my carbs yesterday. And then realizing that I didn't really have to hold back. I had to make some concessions and I had to be mindful of the portions. And especially when we got to dinner, I had to make the decision I'm not going to have the fries. I'm not going to have the top bun of the burger. But I was able to do it and it was doable. It wasn't the easiest, but it also wasn't the most difficult. And I think this sort of shift in mindset really is what's important. I keep seeing it over and over again throughout these last almost 200 days that we've been doing this. And so it's very interesting to see, that and being able to see it in a situation like this that normally would have caused us to just kind of go off the deep end. And the other thing that I didn't realize, and I only realized it this morning, was that it actually was a very active day. It was a very sort of low-level activity, but it was sort of constant throughout the day, which is also a good thing to have. I ended up having 19,000 steps, and it really didn't feel like it. I was so surprised by this that because it really didn't feel like it, that I checked, my Oura Ring is the one that tracks my steps, but the iPhone also tracks the steps. And so I went and checked the iPhone records and it was also there, slightly lower by 500 or something, but it was right up there. And then I still thought, no, this can't be right. Something must have thrown it off or whatever. And then I go and I check Julima's phone, steps. And it said the same thing. And so because we were doing really low level, we didn't go for a walk, because when we actually go for a walk in Buenos Aires, the Ring automatically detects the movement and it says, are you walking? And then it sort of counts that as a mini workout. Even if it's I think it's anything above 10 minutes, it's counted as a mini workout or whatever. And it sort of gives you that credit as extra workout. But it didn't register anything yesterday. It was all very low grade, sort of low to medium intensity. And, little by little, it counted all the steps and we came out to 19,000 steps. So on the one hand, we were able to keep it low carb, which again, as far as thinking in terms of, when you think wine tasting, 5-course meal, burger for dinner, you don't think low carb, yet it was. And I know that for some of you, it's going to be of course. But, again, the stuff that I say here is because for a lot of us, it's not really that obvious. And sometimes knowing that it can be done makes us at least try. And I think that's something that happens quite a bit, where we think I'm going to be going on a wine tasting and it's going to be a 5-course meal. I didn't know that at the time, but you know what? Fuck it. It's just, let's not worry about it. And having that sort of mentality in that moment, that mindset of let's not worry about it. It's almost like giving yourself license to just go completely off the deep end and have whatever you want and then overindulge. So in that way, I thought it was interesting, but even if it wasn't registering workouts in that way, we're doing the workout, but it just little by little, we were doing the tours, we're walking around the vineyards and all of that stuff. Those steps really added up quite a bit. Even my activity goal for the day, which you guys know, it's always, I'm aiming to do 100%, and it's usually between 500 and 600 active calories as measured by the Oura Ring. I ended up like also blowing that shit off the water, out of the water, like 227% or something. I think my goal yesterday was 500 calories, and it ended up being like 1100 or something like that. So it was like 227% of it. So this just goes to show how this can be done, I guess, what it looks like. So I thought that was very interesting, but today is another day, and we got to keep going. I woke up feeling, I had like a little pit in my stomach, and I don't know if it was hunger or craviness or, craviness. Is that cravings? Cravings. I don't know exactly what it was. It seems to be subsiding right now, but I woke up feeling a little more. And again, so every day continues to be a struggle in that way, because now just mentioning it, it sort of like comes to mind, and my brain wants to eat a lot. And so I did my lumen measurement this morning. I got a 2, which means that today is not going to be a low carb day. It's going to be a medium carb day. I'm not sure that would have changed things yesterday, luckily. But it was interesting to be able to see that. I guess in a way it was an opportunity to be able to see it, as in like, what is a low carb day? And low carb is going to mean something different for everybody, of course. I have a certain size that, that I'm carrying around, and so my caloric needs are a little bit different than someone who might not be as overweight. But still, this is all being done in a somewhat controlled environment, as measured by different things. And so, today is a medium carb day, and the plan is to go visit a park here in Mendoza that's supposed to be like one of the biggest sort of artificial parks, I think in South America, I want to say. I don't know. It's supposed to be big, and we're going to be doing, again, walking most of the afternoon. And so, yeah, let's see what we do. But yesterday was successful, and let's see that we can keep that momentum going today. So let's do it. Something that I want to pay attention to today is see how we end up comparing stepwise to yesterday. Because yesterday we were not walking on purpose anywhere. We were just doing our tours, and everything was very like slow and stuff. But then today we're actually walking the park. And this is a big park. I mean, we're talking about like probably the size of Central Park or something like that. Maybe not as big, but same general concept. Big park in the middle of the city. We got a beautiful fountain. And so my Oura Ring is actually registering our walks today. When we walk to lunch, it registered. And now that we're walking to the park, it's registering the actual walk. So I want to see how we end up comparing, because we are purposely walking today, yet I don't know that we're going to end up with the same number of steps. I want to take a look at that and see, because it's interesting, when you start paying attention to these things and how they affect your days, especially when you're doing these kinds of activities that are a little bit different. I don't know. It can give us some interesting insight. So we'll see.
Precisamente también.
All right. We just got back, and I'm a little confused because today we actually walked. Like, I feel like we actually walked, all day. Maybe, the afternoon. But still, like, we walked to lunch, and then we walked back to the house, and then we walked to the park, and we walked all over the park. And, it feels like we really walked quite a bit. And we still didn't walk. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, my ring actually, measured the activity as like an actual workout. It's saying like, did you take a walk from here to here, and all the stuff that it does. And so like
that's actually, that actually makes sense, And it felt like we actually walked, which is something that I didn't feel yesterday. And I don't know if that has to do with the fact that we were, at no point did my heart rate get up, to the point where the ring would recognize it as an actual, workout, like I was purposely doing exercise or what that is. But there's a part of me that still feels like there was a fluke or something. But, there's also the fact that Yulima's phone registered the same thing. So I don't know if it is. But yesterday we ended with 19,000 steps. Today that we walked quite a bit, I just looked and we're at 15,000 steps. A little bit over, 15 to 16, something like that. And so, today makes sense. But yesterday just doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I guess, that very slow museum walk, that we were doing as we were doing the tours of the different vineyards and, and the cellars and all that stuff, maybe really adds up that much, even if you're doing it very slowly. But I don't know, the whole thing is a little confusing to me. And my cravings were out in full force. I started to get tired, starting to get cranky, and then that's when what are we going to do for dinner, that when those cravings started to come out. And so we had leftovers from the first day, that sandwich that we had. We had leftovers from dinner the first night, and we had leftovers from lunch today. So we decided to come and make those leftovers for dinner. And so, which is something, it's interesting because that used to be a big no-no for me. Like if you were on vacation, you ate out every single meal. Cooking while you're visiting someplace, like, no, who does that? That's terrible. So, these are the things that are changing a bit. But yeah, that is basically it. So I'm going to go make some dinner because tomorrow we actually have a very interesting day, like a very interesting day. We'll see how it turns out. All right. See ya.